how to stop holding back. This is me. This has been my life. I've always been the guy that held back his punches, avoided conflict, didn't want to cause problems, wanted to be diplomatic, never wanted to create arguments, always tried to hide away, run away from disputes. That's been my life. I didn't want to be a troublemaker. I always had a green card, never red card on the discipline sheet in grade school. Always well behaved, never broke the rules, always holding back. And I don't know if you can really relate to this, but this is kind of a video to myself, essentially, about principles and behaviors that I wish I would have known to do when I was younger, whenever I was impressionable, whenever I was developing, whenever I was becoming somebody, when I was coming into myself. I wish someone was there to tell me this, to tell me to just do this, and it would have saved me so much pain. It would have saved me from some really toxic relationships. It would have saved me from a whole lot of misery. But here we are on the other side. I've overcome it. I've learned from it, and I'm now going to teach myself, essentially, the lesson. It all boils down to one word: death, right? A lot of problems in your life can be solved by reflecting upon this one word: death. Like, what does it mean to die? What does it mean to no longer exist, right? You can sit on a rock in the middle of nowhere for decades, for a lifetime, for 10 lifetimes, thinking about this question and this word and reflecting upon what it means, and how you come to terms with it will basically decide the trajectory of your life and how you make decisions, and who you choose to make friends with, who you choose to marry, who you choose to spend the rest of your life with, right? How do you choose to spend your moments of solitude? How you choose to, what work you choose. Like, every aspect of your life is influenced in some way, whether it's subconscious or conscious, by this idea of our lives are finite. We will at some point cease to exist. It'll be like before we were born. We don't even know. We can't comprehend. We are not cognitively aware of what lies on the other side. And so when you realize that, okay, this is an outcome that is going to happen to me and everyone that I know and everyone that will eventually ever exist, this will be the outcome. And this is something I'm going to steal from Hormozy. It's that nobody else will remember you. Nobody will remember your name, right? Some people won't even go to your funeral. It's like when you're holding back, right? When you think about holding back, you're only holding back because of other people, right? If you were never going to be punished, if there were no consequences for you saying what you actually thought, for what you actually wanted to say, for you throwing that punch, for you buying the thing or going to the place or quitting the job or whatever, if there was no consequence to doing it, then you would do it. But there are consequences, and they mostly impact and involve other people. It involves your boss, it involves your family, it involves your coworkers, your friends, right? All of these difficult decisions involve other people. And so that is why we hold back. We don't want to, there's feelings involved, there's emotions, there's financial consequences, there's crises like life crisis, midlife crisis. Relationships can be torn apart from these decisions. And so we hold back because we don't want to have to face these tough consequences. We don't want to have to deal with the potential for this to ruin our lives and to ruin the lives of the people around us. So that's why we hold back. That's why we don't throw the punch. That's why we don't quit the job. That's why we remain in the life of misery, right? Because we are so unbelievably fearful and terrified of the other side because it's unknown. It's like death, right? We don't know what could possibly happen, like what the possible outcome of us making this, of not holding back, would lead to. But the cool reframe here is that nobody will remember you. Nobody, not a single person alive, will remember you in the next 3 generations, right? 3 generations from now, most people will not remember your name, right? Think about the most famous people that achieved the most in their lives. We utter their names every now and then. We use their names in papers, in books. We mention them in conversation. But like, who actually remembers that person, right? Historically, we lose that information. Like, we don't even know really who they were because nobody alive now in this current context, on this tiny little sliver of the timeline of history, will ever know what that person was like. We will never know. We will never, ever, ever, ever have had a one-on-one like, nobody alive right now has had a conversation with fucking Leonardo da Vinci, right? Nobody, not a single person. And so, sure, we can remember their names, but we don't truly remember who they were. We know what work they produced. We know what inventions they have done. We know what theory of relativity they have invented, that they've poured their life and soul into. We understand that. And we understand through conversations and documentaries and recordings of them, we understand that aspect of their life, but we can never deeply know who they were as a person. And so understand that nobody will truly remember you 100 years from now, 200 years from now, 300 years from now, right? And so that gives you more than enough of permission to go all in, to not hold back. Because the reason why you hold back is for the sake of other people. But if you hold back, people will never remember that you held back, right? People will never remember that you cared about them. People will never think that, oh, this guy cared about my feelings so much in this moment that he didn't quit his job. He didn't move to this new country. He didn't do this thing. He didn't break the rules there because he cared so much about me. No, nobody will care. Because if you think about it, everyone is so selfish. Everyone is always worried about themselves at the true deep core, right? Everyone is just worried about themselves. They're worried about what they have to gain, what they have to lose. And it becomes this really, really interesting cycle, right? I'm not going to give it a positive or negative association. It's interesting to see how we behave as humans when fundamentally we want what's best for ourselves. We want to survive and to reproduce and do all the things biologically, but we still suffer, right? We still suffer and try to, create a life for other people, we want people to view us in a certain way. We care so much about how we are perceived and how we're remembered and all these things. But the truth is, nobody fucking cares and nobody will remember. And so after you die, nobody will remember you. Nobody will care about you. And so this gives you more than enough evidence to go all in and to stop holding back what you've got, Stop holding back your punches. Just go all in, right? If you're not happy with your life, if you're miserable at your job or at school or in a relationship, then end it, right? There's no reason for you to stay within that because you have such a brief moments on this earth in existence, right? Why would you waste that trying to live up to what someone else expects of you, living a life that you don't actually want to live, living someone else's life, living someone else's dream, right? Whenever your dream is the only one worth dreaming. Goodbye.